Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the head of global payment products from Google, Pali Bhat. Joining him for a fireside chat, founder and chairman of Money 2020, it's Jonathan Weiner.
So thanks for joining us, Pali.
Oh, super excited to be here.
So Pali is from a small little tech upstart from the Valley called Google. Pali, you're head of payments, and you've been in the payments organization for about 5 years, and you recently, about a little less than a year ago, became head of payments at Google. So for the audience, why don't you just give a little bit of background about yourself, about how your organization fits into the overall Google structure?
So first of all, I have to say I'm super thrilled to be here. And just as I'm having this discussion, I have to pinch myself because this is a really unique time to be in the payment space, as all of you, I'm sure, agree. So as I think about payments, I think the first time I was introduced to frictionless commerce was before I even knew what that was. So I was growing up in India, and I would always go to this neighborhood store and pick up whatever my parents wanted me to. And I never actually paid for anything, because the owner knew my parents and knew me, and he would just hand me stuff, and I would take it back, and he would bill my parents at the end of the month. So this was like payments being truly invisible, right? So I'm super excited that now at Google, me and my team have the opportunity to bring this type of frictionless, personalized commerce to users everywhere in partnerships with you all. So in terms of how I think about my role at Google, really think of it in 2 parts. So the first is a payments platform that powers payments for all Google products. This is everything from Google AdWords to Google Play, YouTube, all of those. And that's tens of billions of dollars that we're moving every year. And we operate in about 200+ markets, 60+ currencies. I think we're partnering with many of you in this room today in order to make that a reality. So tremendous, huge platform. And it's not just collecting money, right? It's also disbursing money. So we pay out to AdSense, our AdSense partners, Google Play developers, again to the tune of billions of dollars every year. So it's a tremendous platform, a huge asset for Google, helps us innovate on all of these amazing products that Google is always creating. Which leads me to the second thing that I focus on. The second area is really creating mobile payment solutions for consumers. This is where we have Android Pay, which is our solution for Android users to be able to pay very simply and securely on their Android phones, regardless of whether they're in stores or whether they're in apps or on the web. Right? We also have Google Wallet, which is our solution for enabling consumers to move money between each other really, really frictionlessly. And this is if you and I go for dinner and we want to split the bill, super simple to do it with Google Wallet. So these are sort of the 2 broad areas, the payments platform and then mobile payment solution for consumers. But
okay, well, let's talk about how Google is solving for mobile payments, particularly in the offline world. So we know that Google launched the first wallet back in 2011, Google Wallet. And right now in the US, about 2 million of 9 million merchants are accepting some form of mobile payments. So if you could kind of talk through your product strategy in the offline world, that would be great.
Yeah. So at Google, we think of it always starting with the user. And if you think about how we've approached payments, our solution for real-world payments is Android Pay. And we've been very, very excited with how Android users have embraced that product. In fact, I'm happy to announce that we've had our weekly contactless volume more than double each of the last few quarters. And that's very, very exciting for us to see that momentum, and we really see usage starting to like go up. But we're really in the very, very beginning, right? So we think of the way we have to grow this product along 3 dimensions. The first is really how do we make it much more ubiquitous and available to Android users everywhere. This means getting a lot more banks on board. This means making sure that we're in more markets. It's also supporting other ways that people want to pay, like wearables. Can we make it available on your Android Wear watch, for instance? So it's all of those things. So that's the first piece, which is ubiquity. The second piece is all about frictionless payments. We want to eliminate all of the friction that exists in payments today. So if you think about many of the solutions, they require you to set up a new password or PIN, or username and password. They require you to open an app, select the payment method every single time. We've eliminated all of that with Android Pay. So you no need to open an app. You can just use your device unlock, whether it's your PIN or your pattern or a fingerprint authentication, and tap and you're done, right? So really frictionless. We're also looking at other ways to make payments even more frictionless. So we're experimenting with this technology that lets you pay without even taking your phone out of your pocket or your purse. We call it hands-free. It's an experiment that we're running in Silicon Valley with several top brands like McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, et cetera, and very excited to see how consumers are responding to that as well, right? So, and the last piece, we talked about ubiquity and frictionless payments. The last piece is really creating delightful assistive experiences for users. And by that I mean going beyond just the act of transferring your payment credentials to the merchant. It's about the entire shopping experience. That's what resonated so much with me as you and Anil were talking about how frictionless payments and frictionless commerce go together. So we have created a technology called Smart Tap. And this technology enables us to pass loyalty cards, offers, all kinds of other information that users use while shopping just with one tap. And so we're very, very excited to have partnered with top brands like Coca-Cola and Walgreens. Walgreens, for those of you who don't know, is one of the largest pharmacies in the United States. And so we've partnered with them to be able to transfer their Balance Rewards, which is their loyalty program, at any of their stores with just a tap of your Android phone using Android Pay. So very, very exciting to see all of these come together, but lots more work to do.
Okay, great. So we've talked about Android Pay, wallet, hands-free, in the offline world. So let's move to in-app payments, which we all know is going to be a huge part of the future of how people sort of buy products and services. So if you could just go through what you guys are doing in-app.
Yeah, so we want to bring the exact same frictionless experience that we talked about for in-store payments to in-app as well. So with Android Pay, again, no opening the app, no new password, et cetera, just your device authentication just works within apps. We've had many top apps integrate, whether it's Uber, or Lyft, or Instacart, tons of like momentum around that space. And developers are seeing dramatic increases in conversion when they implement Android Pay. We also wanted it to be really simple to implement. So we partnered with major top payment processors like Braintree and Stripe to ensure that if you are a Braintree merchant, for instance, you can just drop in Android Pay to your app with less than 10 lines of code. Very, very cool. Again, excited to do this with our partners, right? So we made it really frictionless, but a testament to that lack of friction and how easy it is to integrate is Panera. Panera, for those of you who don't know, is one of the largest fast casual chains in the United States. My kid, by the way, loves the tomato soup at Panera. It's his like favorite, all-time favorite dish. Just took him there a couple of days ago as well. So Panera came to one of our hackathons. And within 2 weeks, they'd launched a new Android Pay integration, launched it. This is develop, test, launch with an offer. And they launched it so they could integrate Order Ahead into the Panera app. So if you download the Panera app on Android today, you'll be able to order ahead at any Panera store with Android Pay. So super exciting. The best part is, right, they're running a really cool deal right now. So it's you pick 2 meal, free for anyone who orders ahead with Android Pay at any Panera in the United States. So very, very exciting to see all of that momentum. Now, the nice thing about that, by the way, goes back to your point about how all of this is converging. You now have an in-app experience with Panera that's connected to the real world, right? So you're ordering ahead, so that's very exciting. We're also doing one other new innovation. Our Android and Google Play teams have worked together to create this new technology. This is, again, one of those cool things that you see from Google. It happens all the time. You're like, how did they even do that, right? And with instant apps, what's the experience that's enabled is you can get the full native experience that you get with an app streamed to you, even if you don't have the app installed, right? So it's awesome. So we work very closely with the Android.
It's called Instant Apps.
Yeah, Instant Apps. It's super exciting. We just did a blog post about it a couple of days ago. It's on developers.android.com. You should check it out. And we work very closely with their team to integrate Android Pay and the payment experience into that Instant App experience. So if you have an Instant App, you will be able to check out with Android Pay exactly like we described in the in-store and in-app cases. So very, very excited with that as well.
Okay, great. So obviously, you guys have a big advantage with Chrome. Chrome has over a billion users. And Apple recently announced their plans to support Apple Pay on the web so merchants can integrate to start adding Apple Pay buttons to their sites. So are you guys taking the same approach? You're doing something different? If you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, we always start with the user. So we looked at how users are buying on the web today and what the pain points were. Despite all of the work that the payments industry has done over the last decade, a vast number of users still purchase on websites by completing a checkout form, right? I'm sure all of you have checked out like that as well. So we wanted to make this experience much, much simpler. So we applied our machine learning expertise to look at how different websites are structured, checkout forms are structured. And we've enabled users with a feature that we call autofill, payments autofill, so that any user in Chrome globally, right, can fill out that form with the information that they've already associated with their Google account. So if you've ever purchased with Google, right, on Google Play, and you've stored your credit card information or your billing information with us, we'll enable you to fill the form out. So super exciting. Now, the best part about this was merchants didn't have to do anything, okay? And because it's so easy for users, merchants are seeing a 25% higher conversion with users who use payments autofill versus users who try to fill the form out themselves manually, right? So very cool. The second piece is we were looking at, okay, how do you actually come together as an industry and eliminate these checkout forms completely and make it just so much simpler? So we're working with the W3C on a new standard called payment request. This is an API that we've implemented in Chrome. We started rolling it out a few weeks ago. And we have a couple of partners who are already working with us to test it out, like WePay and Groupon. They're already testing this out. We started rolling it out for Android first. And the cool thing about that technology is enables you to completely skip the form. right? So this, hopefully, as we work together and as this is implemented across multiple browsers as a standard, we should see checkout forms start going away. But today, I wanted to announce something that we think is going to be very, very significant, right? So we partnered with Visa and MasterCard so that we can take advantage of Visa checkout and MasterPass, which are accepted at hundreds of thousands of sites today. So merchants have already done the hard work of integrating Visa checkout and MasterPass. So what we've done is created a partnership so we can integrate and link Android Pay into Visa checkout and MasterPass. So you can get the same frictionless experience we talked about in stores and in-app, online as well. So all a consumer will have to do is click on, after this integration goes live in early 2017, click on a Visa checkout button or a MasterPass button, and all you have to do is authenticate, like I just described, with your fingerprint or your pattern or password, whatever you preferred, right, for your phone. No remembering new usernames or passwords, truly frictionless. We think this is going to have a profound impact on the industry and how web checkouts just start accelerating, especially on mobile devices. So very, very excited about it.
That's great. Congratulations on those partnerships.
Thank you.
So, okay, so let's change topic.
Kudos to Visa and MasterCard as well. We've been working with them very closely on this. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about global expansion and how you view international markets, and if you can give an update on where you are, that would be great.
So we are now live in 5 markets. So the United States, the United Kingdom, Singapore, Australia, and just last week we launched in Hong Kong in partnership with top banks there like HSBC and Hang Seng. We're very, very excited about how users are receiving it there. One of the things that we've done has been very thoughtful about how we're picking these markets that we're entering. As I travel to each of these markets, like the United Kingdom, for instance, it's just awesome to see how natural it is for users to pay with their phones, with contactless payments. So the average Londoner takes the tube, they can tap in with Android Pay. Again, no having to open a new app, no having to authenticate, etc. They just tap, they're done as they go through the tube. And when they get out of the tube, they can tap for their coffee, right? So it's just really natural, and we've seen usage just take off in those markets. So super exciting to see there. We, of course, want to bring Android Pay to every market out there. So stay tuned for more announcements of which other markets we're going to be launching Android Pay in.
How do you view, when you think about certain international markets where there's apps that do everything, not just payments, everything like WeChat. How do you compete against that? How do you break in when they have such a dominant market share?
It's a good question. The way that we think about payments is really as a platform. And we are creating an open platform, and we want frictionless payments to be an ingredient that you can add to any app out there or any website out there. Just like I was talking about with the Panera app, right? You should be able to pay with Android Pay within the Panera app without having to open Android Pay. Same thing with a bank app. You should be able to do the same with websites out there, like we're announcing the partnership with Visa Checkout and MasterPass. We want anyone to be able to take advantage of this frictionless payments layer that we're building and this platform that we're building. So I think it fits very naturally into it.
What about other Google apps that,
Yeah, great question, right? So at Google, we're fortunate to have multiple solutions that have billion-plus users, right? And I already talked about how we've built in this frictionless payments, and we're bringing frictionless payments to Chrome, which is a billion-user app as well. We're also doing the same with Gmail. So we've built a cool feature called Pay by Gmail, which lets you transfer money to anyone else using Gmail right from the Compose window, right? And so you'll see us do a lot more of that. But ultimately, our goal is to make sure that we can deliver this frictionless payments experience across both Google Apps, but more importantly, all of the amazing solutions, apps, and sites that the ecosystem is building.
Okay. We're actually almost out of time, so I'm going to have to, I have some more questions I'd like to ask, but let me just, we'll leave it on with this. So, we have a room of, there's 11,000 attendees here. What's your message to the audience of how they should think about working with Google?
Yeah, I think the best way to think about Google is we bring an amazing technology platform with things like machine learning, probably the most advanced in the world. We've got frictionless experiences that we are creating for billions of users, platforms that have billions of users like Android and Chrome. So I would really encourage all of you out there to think about how you can partner with Google. So if you're an issuer or a developer or a merchant or a payment network or a processor or you have a website, then come talk to us, right? And let's figure out how we can partner on this frictionless payments experience. So together, we're able to jointly deliver this really cool, personalized commerce experience that I experienced in my childhood to users everywhere.
Great.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you very much, Pali. Thanks for your time.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.